Today we're in Medellin, Colombia. We're going to be exploring the real estate market here for investors. We're going to be attending a real estate investor meetup, interviewing real investors and interviewing people who are raising hundreds of millions of dollars doing projects here in Colombia to find out if you should invest in Medellin or not. Let's go. Here with Rick, we host the real estate investor meetup here in Medellin, Colombia. For those watching this, if you don't mind just introducing yourself, how long have you been in Medellin, Colombia, and how long have you been investing in Medellin?
My first trip to Medellin was in 2013.
December 2013. Bought my first piece of real estate here in 2021.
And then in 2012, I made a trip down to Colombia. And a couple years later, we have a couple of projects, 140 people here in the city with us, in the company, and couldn't be happier.
Well, I was born in Bogota, but living in Medellin since 1998, and I've been a real estate agent or advisor for about a decade now.
And I made my first real estate investment in 2014. 3 apartments here at that time. Or when I landed here, I immediately knew there was something special here. It's a vibrant city. It was nothing like the reputation that I had heard about it. And I knew right away that there was going to be an opportunity here.
Project worth probably about $240 million worth of projects. We have about 12 ongoing projects right now. We've already finished about 6 or 7 projects. And we're really focused both on hospitality projects and senior housing. Those are like the 2 types of projects that we're really betting hard in Colombia. A, because of the aging population in this country is increasing monthly and annually. And then also just the number of tourists coming down here that are looking for next level experiences in terms of hospitality. So we're also really focused on creating new hospitality projects.
Well, of course, I think the massive wave of foreigners coming in, I will say that they started to come probably 15 years ago. But somewhere around 7 years ago is when it was a boom of foreigners coming here.
What is something that people need to know before investing in Medellin? Let's say they invest in the US or other markets and they've never been here. What's something that isn't common or just something they need to know here?
First thing is that the KYC is definitely stricter than it is in the US. If you're gonna bring capital from abroad, you do need to provide documentation and a lot of it to be able to bring that in here. I highly recommend finding specialized lawyers for foreign investors in Colombia because as any other country in the world can happen, there are a lot of scams and it's very easy for people to fall into scams. So getting a very good lawyer here that can help with the process of bringing in the capital, registering the investment correctly in the country, I think that's where I've seen most foreigners kind of fail in that process.
You're probably not going to get credit here. So to start, you're likely to be a cash investor. Other things to be aware of, in fact, this market operates more like other markets than people expect. Whether it is execution, registration, due diligence, all of those things to me don't operate that differently than any other country.
If you haven't invested here and you're looking to come here, I would highly suggest that you actually come here and you spend some time in a few different neighborhoods and you figure out what your advantage. You need to have a differentiating factor. That's how you're going to do well on Airbnb. Specifically, I'm talking about Airbnb. Long-term rentals, even 30-day rentals, not my specialty, but daily rentals, there has to be something different from you visually and hospitality. That could be location, but when I talk about location, I get pretty specific, micro, not just neighborhood, but micro location. What side of the freeway are you on? How close are you to this park?
What are the returns that you can expect investing in Medellin?
If you're gonna bring money from outside, from the US, from markets that can seem as a safer place to invest, there obviously has to be a premium when investing in Colombia. And I think the premiums justify coming in here. Right now, we've been able to provide investor with cash yields above 13% a year, which in the US is very hard to achieve. And we've also seen the appraisal or properties go up significantly in value the past 10 years in appreciation. So we've had investors that have 2.5x their capital in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Which in the US, it's not impossible to do, but it's very hard.
A safe 7% net will be like a standard figure on the cash flow, on the rent. But you have to count the appreciation in Medellin is about 5 to 7%.
And 5 to 7% for what, the past 10 years? Has that been consistent?
It's actually going up.
Really?
It's going up. So this apartment 2-3 years ago was probably the equivalent right now of $120,000, $130,000. Today it's sold for $200,000.
Yeah.
And right now there's an apartment renovated for sale on the bottom floors, and they're asking $275,000.
I always tell people to expect high double-digit returns and minimum double-digit returns. Obviously, it depends on the type of investment they're making. That's cash-on-cash returns
Cash-on-cash
without
returns.
leverage. You know, personally, for me in this market right now, on the residential side, I expect to make 7 to 12% cap rate and about 5 or 10% appreciation per year.
The returns are hard to say here because you have to pay in cash. So like, if I were to have a loan, like, you know, if we were investing in the US and I put 20% down, 25% down, my cash on cash would be 95%. So I'm doing very well. In other words, within 3 years, 3.3 years, I've already got my money back, my initial investment, got 100% of that back. But I'm also more than a real estate investor. I'm like a Airbnb person. So I know how to optimize the online listing, hospitality, which is like a whole other game. I got a 4.96. So you have to like swallow your pride and be like, okay, I don't like this guest. They're totally wrong, but I'm gonna give them a refund anyways.
Good idea to invest in Medellin today, knowing that you got in back in 2014, you've seen it change. Someone who's looking to get in today, is it still a good idea to invest?
Well, I think 100% today. I always say this, I've been saying this every single year because they've asked me the same question. Is it not too expensive right now? I say, look, every single year, as long as this city continues to grow, prices are still gonna continue to increase. If you look at the price per square meter of Medellin, even compared to Bogota and Cartagena, we're still talking about 20, 30, even 40% discount to those cities. And when you compare the cities, you see what this city has to offer versus those, and this city to me is by far the #1 investment opportunity in Colombia. So 100% bullish, and it is never not a good time to invest here.
It's, in fact, I think a better time to invest now than when I did. The currency is much more stable than when I first invested, as well as we are now kind of hitting that stage where more investors are becoming open to the idea of investing here. So we're moving up the curve quite quickly here. And in fact, you know, the market is more prepared for outside investors, lawyers, agents, all of the service providers around that would help you make a real estate purchase are much more advanced than they were 10 years ago. So you're gonna get good advice, the timing is good, and as many people know, we're still very early in the cycle here in Medellin.
Still has a lot of room to grow, especially because there is still a lot a lot of sectors that are barely starting to open up in terms of art, in terms of restaurants, in terms of culture. This was a city 10 years ago that didn't have a sushi restaurant, right? So, I mean, just that the transformation that it has seen the past few years, the sheer number of tourists coming in here. We're talking 2 million tourists a year for this city. This city 10 years ago didn't have 300,000 tourists coming in. So the growth has been tremendous, and we're seeing that a lot of foreigners are also bringing concepts, business concepts and business ideas that have worked in other parts of the world. So you're seeing a lot of healthcare tourism coming into the country. A lot of the concerts that are coming to Colombia are no longer going to Bogota, they're coming to Medellin. So it's really becoming an entertainment city. It's vibrant, there is nightlife. The city has invested a lot in building parks and public areas, which is also really important. So I'm 100% bullish in Medellin.
Why should someone not invest in Colombia? What are the risks? that someone might see coming into a market like Colombia?
Yeah. Full disclosure, and it's probably the most important thing that I always tell my investors. I write it in bold, italic, highlight it in every single document: exchange rate risk. That is, to me, like the number one thing that investors have to keep in mind. People bringing in foreign currency here, they have to understand that the Colombian peso can be very volatile. When I first came here, the exchange rate, back in 2012 was 2,000 pesos per dollar. Now it's pretty much double that. It has been very stable the past 4 or 5 years. It's hovered around the same rate. So it has been very stable, but that doesn't guarantee it's going to stay that way, right? It's a country that's exposed to political risks, macroeconomic risks, Latin America risk. So and obviously that's also why you have to provide a much higher rate of return on the investment, because you do have to take into account the risk. There is a risk that the peso will depreciate over a 4 or 5 year period. So the end return that you're going to get in US dollars has to compensate for that.
I would say the biggest risk is have the bad advisor. And I'm not talking just about the real estate agent that you choose. I'm talking about some clients try to cheap out on the legal fees. The legal fees in Colombia are expensive. Expect to pay for a real estate transaction between $700 to $3,000. Depends on the lawyer that you choose, right? More because you need someone that speaks English and can represent you and your interest. That's probably the biggest risk.
This is really nice. So yeah, just give us a quick tour and kind of explain what you were saying.
Okay. Welcome to Geib 604. I sold this to a client from the United States about 4 or 5 months ago, and he asked me to renovate the whole thing completely. He had a kind of like a tight budget, so we didn't hire an architect. All the designs, the color, palette, everything, I choose myself, and I did it with ChatGPT. And then I went hand-picking, like the stool from To Go. I had this made for the space, for example. I feel the majority of the people that is coming is digital nomads, so many of them use an extra monitor. I asked him to do it, and we are in Colombia, so we need a good coffee machine as well for the tenants.
Gotta have coffee.
Gotta have coffee.
So the American who bought this, is this an investment property or is this him to stay?
Is his first investment out of the United States.
Okay.
He came to Medellin once in December. We met for coffee. He came back in January. I showed him a couple of properties, and then he bought this one.
So he's gonna list this on Airbnb?
We are going to rent this one. Okay. We expect to get about 12 million pesos Colombian, so that will be like $3,000, give or take.
Okay. How many bedrooms, bathrooms?
It's 2 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms. The complex has a squash court and a gym.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah.
This is not automatic. This is a curtain blackout. But it actually is pretty dark.
Oh, yeah.
For comfort and the lighting, I got it in the United States. So it's not only dimmable, but has like a night light.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
To set the mood, right? This is the master bedroom. I can tell you the budget, for example, for this renovation was about $30,000, full renovation. Floors, kitchen, lighting, and I spent about $10,000 on furniture.
Okay, so all in 40?
40.
And then how much did it cost to buy?
He paid for this one 800 million. This is 92 square meters. It was turnkey. It was furnished, but Colombian style. So
yeah.
She had like a couch from the grandma, the dining room from the farm, and the former owner just mixed all kind of furniture that didn't match at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tried to give him a little bit of a style.
So what is that in dollars? 800 million?
800 million is right now will be $200,000.
So 200,000 plus 40. So he's all in around 240?
240 all in.
250.
But yeah, like almost a brand new place. fantastic view of Poblado. We are in La Linde.
This is a beautiful view, and this is actually one of the best locations because Provenza, you have the Wake building there. Provenza is like up there, very, very close. All of Poblado, and it's far enough away where you're not near like the party scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
you got the Wake building I can see, or not the
Right.
Wake, but
Energy
the energy
building. Wake 1, Wake 2. This black building in front of us is the Click Clack Hotel.
Yep.
So actually, if you get out of the complex and go to the right, you reach Clemente, which is a nice coffee shop. And it's very short access to Carmen Restaurant, Moshi, Don Diablo, the steakhouse.